was named Maurice. It was Morris Evans, and he was a Shakespearean actor. And he also played Dr. Zaius in the original Planet of the Apes.
That's why his voice sounded familiar.
Yeah.
Interesting. I liked it sometimes when, that the mother would be there, and then she would pop off, and then occasionally the father would come there. And it was like, you could see the friction between the two of them. It just right. All tied together. What I used to like is, gee, I wish my wife could move her lip or nose and do the laundry or do the housework. But it seems like every time she, would do one of these spells and the housework would get done, she would feel guilty about it and then put it back messy and then go back and physically do it.
Can you imagine? And especially that Darren would get so worked up over it.
Unbelievable. Darren, he shouldn't have got worked up on it. I would have been really happy. What if somebody could just wiggle their lip or nose and the housework is all done? Right.
But then think about it. If Darren would have enjoyed just having his wife do everything, there really wouldn't have been a show because there wouldn't have been any conflict.
That too. Yeah, you have to admit that. Now, how many seasons did it run?
It ran for 8 seasons from 1964 to 1972 on ABC.
And then it's still in syndication as under reruns. I saw it here just on a cable channel here last week.
Yeah, I don't think that it's ever been off the air since it stopped production.
It's 3 shows. It kind of, there's a bunch of them. Hogan's Heroes, Andy Griffith.
Yeah.
And then, I Love Lucy. Believe it or not, I Love Lucy is the oldest show in syndication, period. And is as popular now as it was when it was originally broadcast.
Now, you might be in shock over this, but I have not always been an I Love Lucy fan. In fact, I haven't been a fan of Lucy until the past 2 years. And then my eyes finally saw the light of how brilliant she was and how much I Love Lucy informs every other comedy show that came after it, including Bewitched, that had many episodes that were remakes of earlier Lucy episodes.
Oh, yeah. But you realize her and her husband were so intelligent that when they approached her, because she was a major film actress, she was very beautiful. She was very much wanted for making movies. She made movies with Bing Crosby. I mean, she made an enormous amount of movies. When they were offered to do their own TV show, her husband, who played the part of it, of being her husband in real life, when CBS said, we're going to film this in New York, and then, it'll be Cinescoped. Now, Cinescope was, it's long before video, but the quality is not there compared to the original taping. And he says, no, we're going to film it. And that's what they did. They filmed the show, and then they quickly sent the film to the East Coast or West Coast so they could play it.
Yeah.
And what he did is he approached the executives and said, this is what they want to do. And they said, no, we don't want to do it. And he says, we'll do it this way. And I'll tell you what, give us the rerun rights. And the executives said, hey, rerun rights? They never thought about in that time frame. Reruns, right?
Yeah.
And they just laughed and they said, sure, you can have the rerun rights. That was the smartest thing anybody ever did in the TV industry. Because if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have the reruns going like it is. I mean, it was crazy. But it made them really wealthy. It gave them the money to buy the studio, which lasted quite a few years.
Yeah, Desi Arnaz was very, very smart, and I don't think he gets nearly enough credit as he should have.
No, I really don't think that he does. And, again, I mean, a lot of things have changed. But going back to Bewitched, because I just wanted to throw that little bit in there.
Yeah.
What was your favorite episode of Bewitched? And I know there's a lot of them. I can't remember each episode by themselves, but I remember watching them over and over again, and they always were, hilarious, except for the last year or two. I'll have to be honest with you.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, I wrote a whole book about it, but I don't enjoy every episode. However, my very favorite episode, and one that makes me laugh every single time, is from season 4, called Allergic to Macedonian Dodo Birds, and it's when Endora loses her powers. And Aunt Clara, who normally messed up all her magic, suddenly gains these great powers. And it's because Endora's allergic to a Macedonian dodo that Tabitha zapped up out of her Cosmos coloring book in secret. And it's absolutely hysterical. And it has everybody, like Aunt Clara's in it, that was played by Marion Lorne. And it has Dr. Bombay, that was played by my favorite Bernard Fox, who I became friends with in the last years of his life, and just a very funny man. And he was also on Hogan's Heroes that you mentioned earlier. And in fact, he said that Colonel Crittenden was his favorite role, which that's okay, but my favorite role was Dr. Bombay.
I think he played Dr. Bombay great.
Oh, yeah. He was perfection.
Now,
but yeah, that's my favorite, because Agnes Moorehead should have received an Emmy because she acts so helpless without her magic, and she goes to lift a coffee pot to pour it for breakfast, and about throws her back out and says, "Oh, it's heavy."
Yeah, she didn't like the idea of being, her daughter being married to Darren, and her having to, do the housework and all. She thought that was, way beneath her to, take care of the house. Now, didn't Paul Lynde end up in a couple episodes along with his sister?
Well, so I wanted to talk about that too. Paul Lynde was in, I believe, 12 episodes, and his first episode, actually, he played Samantha's mortal driving instructor named Harold, who was really nervous. And because Elizabeth and William Asher, Elizabeth's husband and the director of the show, loved him so much, they created the role of Uncle Arthur for him. So people remember Paul being on the show a lot more than he was, but it was only 12 episodes. And then I'm not sure if you're referring to Alice Ghostley as Paul Lynde's sister that played Esmeralda the Witch Maid.
No, I know that his sister appeared in a couple episodes. I'm almost positive, but I could be wrong.
Well, I hate to correct you on your own show.
Oh, you can. Why not? It's a two-way street. Yeah.
His sister Helen was never on Bewitched.
Okay.
But Alice Ghostley sounded an awful lot like Paul, and as a matter of fact, it was the other way around. Everybody who knew Alice Ghostley said that Paul Lynde stole her act because he talked just like her, and I never realized that until I'd read this great book about Paul Lynde, I think it by my friend Kathy Rudolph, where she mentions where she interviewed people, and they said that people that knew Alice Ghostley said Paul Lynde totally stole her act.
Well, if he did, he sure got it and perfected it. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Well, who else appeared on Bewitched through the years?
So Adam West, that was the TV's Batman and the best Batman, one of his first roles, if not the first, was on Bewitched as one of Darren's friends that worked with him. And that was in a season 1 episode where Samantha sets him up with her friend, and Darren thinks that the friend might be a witch, and he's all against it, of course. And then Richard Dreyfuss, the Oscar-winning actor, his first TV role was on Bewitched, playing a warlock that Samantha used to attend that had a crush on her, and who can blame him?
Oh, I just vaguely remember that.
Yeah, his name was Rodney.
Oh yeah, Rodney.
And so many. Oh, Rita Shaw, she played Aunt Hagatha in a couple of episodes. She was the maid or the cook on Mary Poppins and in so many other different shows.
Well, who was the one? It was the older lady. It was Scatterbrained. And she would cast spells. and they were always wrong. Every time she made a spell, she goofed, because her magic, because she was kind of getting a little bit senile. So, I mean, if she...
Yeah, that was Marion Lauren, Aunt Clara, and she was absolutely brilliant. And it seems like in the interviews that I've seen with her, where it was just her being interviewed or being herself, that she actually was that character. Not to say that she was scatterbrained, but she just was funny like that and so sweet. And Elizabeth just loved her.
Interesting. Yeah,
and then
I just wanted to say
the story.
I was sorry. I didn't mean to talk on. I just wanted to say that was the best part of it for me, when she would come on, and she would make these spells, like clean the kitchen or do something after she was babysitting, and a disaster would happen, and it was so funny.
She would fill the whole house with suds when trying to do the dishes.
Oh yeah.
But Marion Lauren, Aunt Clara was known for collecting doorknobs, and that's actually something that Marion Lauren did in real life.
Interesting. Now, hey, David, we need to take a break for the radio stations, all that. So if you want to, you've got 3 minutes, you can get a cup of java or what have you. We'll be back with David Pierce. We're talking about the book, Bewitched, the history book, and we'll be back.
Selfish and cruel since his youthful days in school. His siblings he never did treat well. His self-centered bent was his dark side lament, with a focus on hypnotizing spells. He memorized laws to help sharpen his claws for a future for which he was bent. The time would surely come when for office he would run and claim he was just heaven sent.
Another politician has just taken center stage. He tells all the people that he loves them so. He comes on like a sage, says with him they should engage. A false prophet selling endless empty prose.
Stepped over dead bodies on his climb to the top. The highest post was his aspiration, but he forgot to read the fine print in the contract that he signed, which caused a U-turn to his final destination. He continued on his pathway of destruction and decay, never thinking that his wicked life would end. He never did take stock that the devil is not mocked, and all those broken fences will not mend.
Another politician has just taken center stage. He tells all the people that he loves them so. He comes on like a sage, says with him they should engage. A false prophet selling endless empty prose. He feels no lament for the lives that he spent. A jackal who thinks he can't be touched. But there will come a day when the devil's birds of prey paint their canvas with his lost soul's carrion brush.
Night Dreams Talk Radio, After Dark, wants to give a big shout out to all the truckers that listen to our show.
If you would like to hear Night Dreams Talk Radio on your local radio station, let them know. Tell them to check out www.nightdreamstalkradio.com, and thank you.
You can advertise your business on Night Dreams Talk Radio, and you will be heard worldwide. Why not contact us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com. Coming to you from some far point station, like a cosmic tumbleweed, both north and south of the Pleiades. Here's your host, Gary Anderson.
Just waiting for that thunder to pass the studios. Anyway, we're back with David Pierce. He wrote a book, the Bewitched history book. And you know what? If you're into the show, where can they find this book at?